Hello, it's Amy with Soft Wind Crafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm here today to share with you a card that I made using Delightful Wishes and Tractor and Company. So we're going to get in today with this very simple layout that can be adapted for any papers that you have and any stamp sets that you have, and can even do it without any stamp sets if you like. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first of all, let me pull out, I'm using a four and a quarter piece of cardstock by 11. So it's just kind of like cut down the middle, and it's scored at 5.5. All right, so there we have the front. I'm going to take out my bone folder. We're going to give it a good burnish. Right. I also have a piece of 5.5. Let me say this, not 5.5, 5.25 by 4 piece of white cardstock, which I used a retired embossing folder, Old World, to give it some texture to the card. And so we're going to go ahead and glue this down to the front of the card. And you want to do plenty of glue because it is heavily embossed with these big grooves, in order to make sure that it sticks to the front of your card. I really like this this particular layout. I actually used it to make some birthday cards to give to my mom so that she doesn't have to worry about going out and buying birthday cards for the upcoming year. All right, so then we have a piece of Lemon Lolly cardstock. This is from the set that you get. I think Lemon Lolly might be Subtle. I can't remember if it's Subtles or Brights, but it's the paper pack that comes with that particular cup. But this is an old one, so I know the pattern has changed, but I really like this pattern and I like this particular color. And this is 2 3/4 by 4 3/4, because I wanted something that would kind of sit over here to the side and come in. So again, we're just going to put some glue. We're going to lay this down on top of our cardstock. All right, so remember with your green glue, you don't need to use a lot, and you don't want to have it so close to the edge that it oozes out. So I'm trying to put this in with the same amount of spacing to the front, to the side, and to the bottom. Of course, it's going to be a lot more to the left because it's a much shorter piece. Yeah, but that's that particular layout. All right, so then let me go ahead and get all these pieces out. Whoops. Where I used the Spotlight on Nature die set in order to make my circle. And so again, I'm just going to kind of put some green glue on the back. And I use green glue a lot because down where I live here in South Texas, it is very humid, and sometimes the Stampin' Seal does not, well, it sticks good, but after a while, sometimes it seems like it comes off. But the glue works real well down here. Okay. And then to make the tractor, I did not use anything except the Tractor and Company die set. I just die cut the wagon, I die cut the wheels, and I die cut the 2 hubcaps for our wagon. So let me get my silicone mat, pull it out here. And what I'm going to first do is put the hubcaps on my wheel. So let me grab my take your pick tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up and just put some glue on the back of the hubcaps. I guess that's what these are. I'm just calling them hubcaps because that's what they look like to me. So here we go. So a little bit of glue. I'm going to put them in the center of the wheel. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to put that in the center. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wagon, and this is and I'm going to glue the wheels to the back of the wagon. So here we go. Let's put a little bit of glue, here. And I want to look and see, because when I did it before, I didn't feel like I got the wheels quite where I wanted them. Let's get rid of that glue. Okay, that looks pretty good. And now we're going to do the same with the other wheel. Get it up. And there, we're going to kind of stick that on there. And so now we've got our wagon ready to go. And I'm going to go ahead and put that, and I'm going to use some dimensionals in order to put that on there. And I thought I had taken these out, but I hadn't. All right, well, here we go. So grab some dimensionals, one on each wheel, and then I'm going to put one kind of in the center of the wagon. And I'm going to use my take your pick tool to take off my backings. Keeps them from ending up all over the place. I can quickly get them into the trash can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put this to the bottom of my spotlight on nature. Okay. Now, the next piece, I cut out some twig and I forgot to put adhesive backing on it. So now we're going to have to use green glue in order to get this on. And this is from a retired set called Cheerful Daisy, but I really like using these twigs. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the stem here, trying to keep it real light because it's going to get messy. Okay. Just a little bit, because I'm going to be gluing flowers on top, so that'll help those stay on as well. Okay, so you don't need a whole lot. You just want enough to kind of get it to be on there just a little bit. Okay. And then we're just going to kind of place this on our Spotlight in Nature die. And see, you can already see I already smeared some glue. Didn't take long. There we go. All right. All right, so these flowers I kind of pre-stamped and pre-cut already. And these is using the Delightful Wishes stamp set. So I'm using these two flowers, and it's kind of a two-step stamping. So I prefer on this set, I tried both ways. I prefer stamping with the detail first and then trying to angle and figure out where the other part goes in. And I try very hard to keep them so in the same direction so that they do match up. And sometimes my eyes have a hard time seeing exactly where they match up. Again, what I did is I stamped the flower in Azure Afternoon for the detail, regular strength, and then I stamped off the second part, this piece. I did Azure Afternoon, stamped it off on a piece of scratch paper, and then I stamped it directly onto the flower on top, and that's why you see kind of like a two-tone to the flowers. And so what we're going to do now is we're just going to glue these flowers onto, and you can use dimensionals, but I'm just going to go ahead and put them straight to the card, because I'm going to put my sentiment, I'm going to actually put on dimensionals. So I don't want to be kind of fighting that. And then our last one is right here. Let's see if I get it up. And this one I'm going to put right here. Okay, and so then I have some scrap basic beige to match my cardstock. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use Strawberry Slush, which is what the scrap cardstock I used for the wagon. I used that color, Strawberry Slush, which is one of our new in colors. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment, which came from the Tractor and Company die set, which says, "Thanks for pulling me through." So let me grab that. And I like these photopolymer stamps because you can see where it is you are stamping. And oh, there it is, right in front of me. All right, so I'm going to kind of tap, tap, tap. Make sure I have enough ink on it. Whoops, on the bottom doesn't seem to have enough. All right, so there we go. And I'm just going to do it a little bit over. Sorry if my head gets in the way. I'm trying to make sure that it's straight. Kind of let it sit there to let the ink go into the cardstock. And there we go. Pull it up. There we go. We have it. We're ready to go. I'm going to use one of my banner punch set to get the angle. Now you could do this by measuring it out and just kind of cutting the edge, but I like using my retired stuff. So I'm just going to kind of put it in there. Maybe doesn't want to go in. Okay, and then I just kind of check the back, make sure it's kind of lined up, it's even. Punch. There we go. And then what I want to do is I want to make sure it kind of lines up. I want it to line up with the width of my designer series paper. And I'm just going to give it a quick cut. And then I'm going to lay it down and again. And there we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this. And I don't know what I did with my dimensionals. There they are. So just kind of about 3 seems to be a good amount. Let's remove the backings. And there we go. Kind of lining it up with the end of my paper. And now let's go ahead and add a little bit of bling. So I have these. They are the 2024-2026 in color shimmer gems. They're not quite the strawberry slush, but as you can see, I haven't even used them yet. I have them and then I never use. I forget my bling all the time. Just not something I use. So let me grab my, take your pick. And I think we'll use these pink ones. Let me grab a big one. We're going to put it right there. Let me get a little one. And we'll put it right there. And then we'll grab a medium one. Well, maybe they're all the same size. Let me grab a big one. And we could put it, let's put it up here. And there you go. We have our thank you card. You can use a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 white, put it on the inside, and then you have your piece to write it on. But again, we have this cute little card using Tractor and Company and the Delightful Wishes. And I want to show you how much I like this layout. I actually used it, I told you at the beginning, to make these birthday cards for my mom. And here is one that I made. And instead of using a circle, I just put in a big, the old lighthouse from, I think it was called Sailing Home. But this paper, this paper is from the Beautiful Gallery, which is in our current catalog. And it is gorgeous. It has so many different scenes. I can see using this particular layout for this paper because you get those beautiful scenic scenes that will make great, beautiful cards. And they kind of become the star of your card. Again, I really appreciate you watching this video. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment. I'll try to answer as best I can. If you would like to purchase anything from Stampin' Up, I would appreciate being your Stampin' Up demonstrator. My website is www.softwindcrafting.stampinup.net. Again, Amy, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.